So welcome back to Empire of Dreams. We're now into the second world, and now that we've gotten past the training wheels stage of the game, the levels are going to start getting longer, which means that only the first half of Priya can go in this first video. A big introduction is to the giant pain in the ass that these wind funnels, I suppose you could call them, are. We saw them a lot in Daughter Phantomile, but in Priya they're the primary puzzle obstacle. And the thing we'll be doing most is using these boxes to block them, because otherwise we can't move past them. When we enter a wind jet, rather than being able to just use our momentum to pass through it, we'll be stopped short and forced upwards until we either hit a ceiling Bird boxes will let us weigh the boxes will give us the weight we need to move down and the mass to prevent them from blowing us anywhere at all. So 90% of this world is finding a box and then figuring out how to use the box in order to get past the wind. Truth be told, the world isn't great. This world doesn't have the introducing new stuff every level advantage that Gazaland had. And even though we're being introduced to new concepts all the time, like learning how to weigh down, learning how to get past the wind in the first place, learning what can pass over wind and what can't. While that's all still present in this world, what we don't have is it being spread out over several levels. A lot of it is bundled into this one big level at the start of the world. So while that sounds fine in theory, with regards to... as you can get all the tutorial stuff out of the way in the first level and let the designers stretch their legs later on, it really doesn't work out that way in the... It really doesn't work out that way in the game itself. Just because it doesn't feel like once you're past this initial training stage that they can really come up with anything new to do with the element that they seem to have built this whole world around. And when you come across worlds like this, it just throws into question why that world is still in the game, why it didn't end up on the cutting room floor. already get a sense of just how much longer this level is than the various other levels that we took on in the first world. The mere fact that we're still here after nearly 6 minutes of video and we're only just getting out of the first level. But a quick background change, and now we appear to be in the actual opera house itself. And my clumsy playing arse is doing its thing. Yeah, no fun theatrics for deaths in this game. And here's our first new enemy, or new to this game. We saw them in Door to Phantomar plenty. Tetons will take us flying upwards for a short while, until they either hit a ceiling or run out of time. And we get switches, which are so self-explanatory I almost forget about that sign right there. Those kind of pinball flipper doors will be familiar to anyone who's played Yoshi's Island. You can only enter them from one side. More basic box work. At least for a music-based world, it has some good music. I like these kind of peaceful but foreboding tracks in pretty much all kinds of games. They're almost borderline hypnotic. Very relaxing as well. by introducing the difficult concept of timed switches. We're not exactly brimming with originality around here. Thankfully though, that level is now done. Moving on to a bit more ornamental setting for the background. And the return that literally nobody was crying out for. These short-lived disappearing platforms from Door to Phantom Isle, making their show-stopping reappearance. Thankfully those levels much faster paced. I mean, we've already got one of the stars. And one of the balloons to grab onto. I spoke a lot in the last video about the reasons why I love those. Very simple but very effective. That there, I think, with those spikes was a bit of knowing bad design. Like the game expected you to be too impatient to wait for those platforms to disappear, so gave you that heart there to refill the health. And if you knew players were probably going to be impatient to get past what looked like an unnecessary obstacle, then why was it in the game in the first place? These are the pressing questions that must be asked. Showing off there the fact that you can't jump off the ladders, at least not vertically. Like it's something of a chore when you're trying to move at some level of speed. And I know speed isn't the purpose of the game, instead this being more about careful thought and planning, more towards the Mario end of the platform scale than Sonic, but it's still not nice to be forced to move slowly. notice at the base of the screen that rather than the 2 key silhouette that we've had in pretty much all the levels so far, there's only the 1 in this level. The game only shows you the keys you need, which will become useful later on. And time to be taught that you can grab enemies through those kind of doorways. Now, for added frustration, as we know, the exit to the level is on the other side of that vent, but just one more basic, very unnecessary little bit of restriction. And this is where things are starting to get really tiresome, just that this basic puzzle outline has been used so many times at this point. Use a box to get up to one place, use an enemy to get up to another. It's becoming tired and predictable, and we're only at World 2. Thankfully, hoverboard. Hoverboard with lots of spiky things. And I think our first appearance of giant enemies. As always, it's all about partial reactions, partial paying attention to the background. Nothing is on these hoverboard courses that doesn't need to be. Which I think makes them great. Not that a hoverboard needs any kind of special design work to be great. Unfortunately, that is over, and so is this video. So we've got a few more levels opened up, and we'll be dealing with them next time. See you there. Bye bye.